pensions, and a stark warning that women are falling behind men when it comes to funding their retirement. The Equal Opportunities Commission estimates that 1 in 5 women in the UK risks being in poverty in their later years. In a moment, we'll be talking to pensions expert Professor Noel Whiteside from Warwick's Department of Sociology on why that is and what can be done. But first, let's hear from some female employees about what arrangements, if any, they've made for their long-term financial security.
I'm actually a part-time worker now since having my daughter. I worked from when I was 20 and didn't start my pension until I was sort of in my late 20s, which with hindsight I wish I'd actually contributed earlier on, but there's so many other priorities when you're sort of thinking about setting up home and sort of putting money away into a pension doesn't seem like necessarily a good idea at the time.
Maybe once I've settled into paying my mortgage payments and I'm into a bit more of a routine with my finance, then I'll be able to think about any spare money going in towards a pension. At the moment I'm just looking to put it into savings accounts, so if I actually need it later in the year I can actually take it back out again rather than having to wait till I've retired.
Are you worried about your pension provision?
Well, I did discuss my pension needs with a financial advisor a while ago, and we worked out that to retire on a reasonable income I would have to work till I was 82. And that doesn't seem terribly encouraging, so I think genteel poverty is going to be my fate.
So why are women falling behind? What can they do to avoid it? And what part should the government play? Here's Professor Whiteside.
If you look at the statistics, you will find that in the course of a working life, which after all lasts 40 years, the woman will earn about 50% of the male earnings on average, but will inherit at the end of the day about 1/3 of the male pension. First and foremost, women live longer than men. Most pensioners are women, and most women pensioners survive into their 80s now with increasing life expectancy and become increasingly aged and frail and in need of more money, not less. Second point, women's contributory records for their future old age pension are more difficult to sustain. They take time off to have children, they return to work part-time, and most part-timers fall outside the National Insurance contributory scheme, which guarantees a state pension in her own right. Third element is the higher divorce rate. Once upon a time when William Beveridge set up our state pension scheme, he thought that all husbands would contribute on behalf of their wives. They still can. However, a far higher rate of divorce means a lot of women find themselves abandoned, sometimes in their 40s or 50s, without a contributory record and therefore with no guaranteed state pension. The government has taken several steps to try and help women, and this is welcome. However, the trouble is they have added further complexity to an already overcomplicated situation. No ordinary person in the street fully understands how the state pension scheme works. You can claim credits if you take care of an invalid or elderly person for more than a certain number of hours, but that depends on how they're registered and viewed officially. You can claim credits if you're taking care of a child under 12 years old. This does not mean that you can claim credits when they're over 12, and a mother, after all, is liable for whether her children attend school or not. It strikes me that women are expected to do too much. They get very little credit for the caring work they do, which is not paid for and for which they can get no contributory credit. What bothers me is the rising retirement age for women. It is being done in the name of gender equality. Women are to retire at the age of 65 from 2020, going up in stages from 2010 to 2020, and thereafter progressively their retirement age will rise to 68. The question this leaves unanswered is who's going to take care of the very old. A lot of women in their late 50s and early 60s are effectively taking care of their parents and their parents-in-law. If a woman is unfortunate, she may be taking care of an 80-year-old who may have partial or labile senile dementia, or someone who's got a some sort of partial infirmity that isn't necessarily officially recognised. Or she may have divorced parents, both of whom are alive, living in separate households and neither able to cope, neither able to carry the heavy shopping or to drive a car anymore, for example. This at a time when she's supposed to be still in full-time employment and contributing against her own old age pension. I tell you what will happen. Women will say, I want to respond to my family now, I don't mind about my pension, I'll answer that question later. All in all, with their longer lives and the rising propensity for divorce, I don't see the situation of women pensioners in the future as being particularly favourable.